Welcome. If you know JavaScript and you're ready to actually ship something, you're in the right place. Over the next 13 lessons, we'll move through 5 tiers: Foundations, Daily, Advanced, Professional, and the GRAD Capstone. Building toward one goal: a cart UI that consumes a real FastAPI backend. Types become components, hooks become features, and by the end you walk away with a portfolio piece, not just a line on your CV. So who is this series actually for? 4 kinds of developers. If you're a vanilla JS dev wondering what TypeScript really adds, we'll show you fast. If you're a backend dev from Python, Node, or Go, the FastAPI Capstone becomes your backend. Bootcamp grads stuck on Create React app, you'll learn the 2026 stack: Vite, RSC, tan stack query. And if you're writing React without types, you'll see why TypeScript catches the bugs before the refactor breaks them. Here's the map: 13 lessons across 5 tiers, each one earning the next. Foundations gets you fluent in TypeScript, basics, interfaces, generics. Daily is week 1 React, components, hooks, forms. Advanced is where it gets real with custom hooks, tan stack query for server state, and JWT auth. Professional is the ship-ready stack: React server components, Vite, Docker. And GRAD is the capstone, where your cart UI talks to the FastAPI backend, end-to-end. Watch the color shift from TypeScript blue to React cyan at lesson 4. That's your signal you've crossed into UI territory. So what's actually in the box? React 19 with server components and actions, TypeScript 5.6, Vite 6 for 50 millisecond hot reloads, and Vitest for testing. For data and state, tan stack query replaces the useEffect plus fetch pattern, React Router 7 handles type-safe routing, and ZooStand kills Redux boilerplate. Tailwind 4 and Radix themes for UI, React hook form with Zod for validation. And that Zod schema, same shape as Pydantic on the back end. This is the 2026 default. No legacy baggage. Here's the road: 13 lessons, each with a single hook that earns the next one. We start with TypeScript fundamentals, types, interfaces, generics, then move into React, JSX, state, forms with Zod. From lesson 7 we go pro: custom hooks, tan stack query, JWT auth wired to your FastAPI backend, server components, and tests in Docker. Lesson 12 is the trophy: a cart UI consuming your Capstone API, full stack, end-to-end. Let's zoom into that trophy. The Capstone isn't a toy. It's a real cart UI talking to the FastAPI cart API over Docker Compose. You'll see every lesson land in the tree: React Router for routes, ZooStand for cart state, React hook form plus Zod for the login, tan stack query hitting the cart endpoints, JWT auth, Vitest, and a 50 megabyte Nginx image. One Docker Compose up and the whole stack, UI, API, Postgres, Redis, comes alive on your machine. Before we touch a single line of code, you need to know the opinions this series is built on. 6 reflexes a senior reviewer applies without thinking. Strict mode is non-negotiable. If your config isn't strict, you're writing JavaScript with annotations. Components are functions, never classes. Server data lives in tan stack query, not useEffect. Validate at the boundary with Zod mirroring your Pydantic models. Tailwind beats styled components on bundle size and speed. And we co-locate by feature, not by type. So deleting a feature is one RF away. With those opinions on the table, here's how to actually move through the material. If you're newer, go linear. L0 to L12, about a lesson a week, and you finish with a portfolio project plus LinkedIn evidence. If you're already shipping, cherry pick. Skim the cheat sheet on slide 9 of each deck and only stop where the pattern is new. Tan stack query, RSC, that kind of thing. And if you're running this with a team, workshop mode does 2 lessons a week with a capstone in week 4, peer code review included. Quick word on the visual system because it's not decoration, it's navigation. Each lesson carries a tag color: green for foundations, blue for daily, purple for advanced, yellow for professional, red for grad. The deck itself shifts too: TS blue through lesson 3, then React cyan from lesson 4 onward, so you always know at a glance which half of the journey you're in. Before lesson 1, you'll want this stack ready. Node 22 managed through FNM, PNPM as your package manager because it's genuinely faster than NPM or Yarn, VS Code with the TypeScript, ESLint and prettier extensions, Git you almost certainly already have, and finally the FastAPI cart service running in Docker on port 8000. That last one is the capstone you'll consume from lesson 9 onward. One afternoon, all free, and you're set for the whole series. With the setup out of the way, let's talk about what you actually walk away with. 4 artifacts, not promises. A working full-stack app. Cart UI talking to Cart API, login through checkout, deployed somewhere real. A public GitHub repo recruiters can click and immediately trust. 12 internalized mental models, the daily judgment calls seniors make without thinking. And finally, a CV bullet that reads like shipped work, because it is. So here we are. Nodes installed, VS Code is configured, the Cart API is running locally, and your head's in the right place. That's the full launch checklist. Done. Next up, Lesson 01, Why TypeScript. We're shifting into the Foundations tier to answer the question every senior team already answered: why JavaScript that catches its own bugs became the 2026 default. See you there.